Hey loves, welcome back to another DIY video. So this is on a sleeveless trench coat. So this is pretty much the finished product of what the trench coat looked like. Definitely had some pros and cons in terms of the method that I used, and I was kind of reluctant as to whether I should post this video or not, but I felt like, you know what, we learn through our errors, and it's kind of necessary, and this might be really easy with a different type of fabric. So stay tuned to see. So basically, this is everything that I used throughout, or what I needed for the method. So I got this beautiful lavender fabric. It's like a cashmere type of, or not cashmere, sorry, a coating, but it's called cashmere with a K. Anyways, I got a thread similar to it. I needed a rotary cutter, measuring tape, obviously scissors, and then a bigger ruler, which you guys know is my go-to in order to get my straight lines and stuff, because I don't draw anything. Anyways, this is me kind of measuring things on myself. So basically what I did is I knew that I wanted it to kind of fall from my ear down. That's how long I wanted the fabric to be, all the way down to about my knee. So I kind of guesstimated what it would be, and I think I came up with it's either 53 or 54 inches in total. And then I figured from there, that's like what I would have been like comfortable with for my measurements. And then I laid it out along the fabric, and I believe I got 1.5 or 1.25 meters. And then I knew obviously I needed an inch at the top and an inch at the bottom, because generally you're going to be working with one long like rectangular piece, kind of similar to my turtleneck video. If you guys have seen that, I'll link it below to the DIY one, which that one came out beautifully. That's like one of my favorite things to wear. So basically I'm using the rotary cutter as a guide because it didn't actually cut through all this fabric. It possibly is just because I have dull blades, so I kind of just used it to kind of trace out where I wanted to cut, and then I went past that with scissors. So basically what the whole method is one long piece of fabric with the seams sewed up, so it's kind of like a square rectangle, and then 2 circles to fit my arms. I had seen this at Sirens with a circular type of fabric, and basically it was a circle with 2 circles inside it, and I was like, okay, but I want to do this with like a square instead. So I was playing around to see how it would kind of turn out, if it would work out with my visuals. So that's why I was kind of saying it depends on your method. Anyways, here I'm kind of dealing with the selvage. So all salvages generally are 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to cut off that and make sure it's super straight and super crisp, because I don't want any kind of like weird edgy sewing or anything weird when it comes to sewing this piece. Now I will say this fabric is super hard to sew with on a domestic machine. I'm realizing when I want to do coating stuff, I would need an industrial machine. I don't even know how people would sew this with like a lining. Like, how do you make a coat at home with a domestic machine? It's beyond me. But my machine's pretty good, and it was a lot to be able to roll this over once and then twice again, because I did a rolled hem for the entire coat. I kept saying seam, I meant hem in the last like minute, sorry. So in order to do the circles for my arms to poke out of, obviously, I kind of used a sweater. No, I did use a sweater to mimic it. I would not recommend this method. I might recommend just completely measuring every area and then measuring how big you want your sleeves to be. I kind of thought that I wanted it to fall kind of how this sweater is, and I realized later this sweater's kind of baggy. It was probably not the best method, but I did know that from the original measurements from my neck up, I knew I wanted it 10 inches. So I kind of was following this sweater as a guide in order to give me an idea of where I wanted my shoulders to fall, basically. So I have the top part of my shoulder, the bottom part, and then I'm just going to kind of measure where the back is. And then from there, I'm going to use tracing paper to create a circle. You can, if you're brave, you could go ahead and just cut through there. That's just crazy to me, so I just wouldn't. But and this is already is crazy enough. If you guys watch Tammy Roman, leave a thumbs up. She is freaking hilarious. I just was kind of watching all her Instagrams while I was doing this, all her bonnet chronicles. But anyways, back to the main points. So I put the points of what I had just measured, and then I cut it out. You can tell what I cut out was actually smaller than what I measured, and even still that was too big. So that's what I was trying to say, that you probably don't want to use the sweater method. These areas that I'm measuring, that was what I should have done to begin with. I should have just gone in and measured my shoulders, bottom of where my shoulders end, and like all across. So that's what I'm just doing here, to just double check from what I cut with my tracing paper, just to make sure everything is on point still and nothing is any different. And then I went ahead and just cut through that. Now to finish this, I would probably recommend getting a piece of extra from this fabric and rolling it over to close off those raw edges, but my machine can't take that, so I'm gonna have to do that on an industrial machine. And then for the sash, I guess you could say, in order to wrap around the belt, oh my god, I can't even speak, I just used 2 pieces and then sewed them together, which also better on an industrial machine. So this is the finished look. Absolutely loved it. I just felt that it was kind of floppy, and I feel like that is totally fine. I just kept having to adjust it and bring it back up. I feel like this would have been perfect with more of a sweater type of material than a coating material. If I were to do this again, which I definitely will, so that you guys can see the growth and progress, I would use a pattern. But it looked beautiful, and I knew, like, you know what, this is fall for me. It's a spring color, and I'm wearing all the way after Labor Day, but I don't freaking care. Leave a thumbs up for more DIY videos, and definitely want to work with more actual patterns, so leave me feedback. I would love to know what you guys want to see, and I can't wait for Christmas, because y'all know that's my season and my birthday, and heavy hitters are about to come. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Love you guys. Bye.